What's up, you guys? It's Julian. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make raw, deep, hypnotic style techno. You can grab this full template from this video at the top of the description on my website. Make sure to grab that so you can follow along. Thanks for the support, everybody, and let's get started. Alright, we're at 145 BPM, a little bit faster than the past few years, but I think it works really well with this groove. First, we got our sidechain. Just a little click from the kick, just so we can sidechain stuff to this, and it'll be a lot cleaner. And then we have the actual kick. I synthesize this kick. This is made with Operator. It's really good for synthesizing kicks. As you can see, there's really not even much external processing from Operator. It's just a sine wave. We have this volume envelope where you can really see like the actual punch of the kick. Right, because you can see that since this is like a longer attack, see what I've done is I've taken that initial and brought it all the way up. So now you can just use the attack as like a flat platform for the sound. And see how it's a lot thinner and softer when we bring that down. So that's very important. It allows you to just get enough body at the start without messing up the kick. Then we got a little kind of shape like that. And then we have a little bit of a high pass inside of the synth actually. So here's without it. So you can play with that, put it at a lot of different settings, but I find it just really helps to kind of get rid of that like the real sub. And really make this sound like a proper 909 sort of kick. I also got a little bit of shaper on here. That really helps inside of Operator. And then probably the most important thing for synthesizing a kick, the pitch envelope. So you see how much that does. When I turn it off, it's just a little down, down. This really gives it the kick, right? And the secret here is the 2-tier pitch envelope. You have to have two parts. If you just have one, it's not going to hit hard enough. You kind of have like your transient pitch envelope, and then you have the body pitch envelope. Then we're just cutting a little bit of sub to make room for the bass. I'm converting this to mono. And then we got our bass line. So you can hear we got the real sub from this layer. I've got this Ableton drum rack here, and you can see, yeah, we're just playing this like really repetitive pattern. And then I bandpassed it, and with the bandpass, you kind of get this low end boost, or you get a boost at whichever frequency you cut, right? So I've just boosted up the low end, and it creates this nice sub underneath the kick. And you can hear it has a lot of movement. And then to give it a little bit more movement, I have this auto pan sidechain. Converting it to mono, and then on top of that we have this. Right, so this is just a few kicks and toms actually, but you can see I filtered them a little bit. So it starts like this. Auto pan, high pass, and a little bit of low pass, and it just adds a little bit more rhythm over top of that bass line. Right, it makes the bass really groove well with the kick. And then we start to move up to the drums. We got this little hi-hat. So it's a nice punchy 909 hi-hat. You'll notice I shortened it though with the amplitude envelope a lot. So it almost becomes like a closed hi-hat. And it's a lot punchier. If I bring up that sustain. So you don't really want that big fat hi-hat. You want something really short. A lot of times these guys even use like literally just a 909 closed hi-hat. But for this groove, I found the open one, but then just closing it with the amplitude envelope was best. We got this little percussion. So this is just kind of this drum rack. You can see I've created this little, it's just a little bit of like kind of some percussion at the start of every 4 bars. Redux. I really like that 4 bits where you can hear it fighting to get out. A little bit of auto pan to make it kind of sidechain, and then a high pass. Right, so that just kind of hits every 4 bars. This type of techno is very sparse, right? There's actually not that much going on. So you have these little elements like this. There's a lot more down here, as you can see. They just pop in and out to kind of say like, you know, so to keep the attention. We have another drum rack just doing a little bit of. So you can see here I have these 2 hits. Just continuously hitting, a little bit of echo. auto pan sidechain. And you can hear it adds a lot of groove with that kick. Then we move down to this one. And you see these two kind of work together, because if I put that together with the last one, see, it's like you have all these little percussions kind of starting to talk to each other like this. This is some bongos, so it's kind of bringing in like the hard groove element. Another auto pan sidechain, another high pass, and then we'll move down to some more hi-hats. I have this one, just straight 16th notes, and then this one over top. And then if you put those with the main hi-hat, you can really hear how it all kind of creates a groove. So yeah, even though it just sounds like some 16th note hi-hats, but there's still a lot of detail there. I also have a little bit of these house loops. And we're actually kind of doing a bit of sound design with these. So it starts like this. Right, so it's essentially kind of like house loops, but it's like live percussion. Like it's stuff played in live that you can't really make in the computer. Taking those, getting maybe like 3 or 4 of them together. Then I'm high passing it. Low pass filter just on the high highs to kind of glue them all together by sort of adding like a uniform umbrella. And then the 16th note auto pan plus the sidechain. And so it just gives you this like kind of percussion that's really rigid and techno-y, but at the same time it gives you something live underneath all the program percussion. And I've also done a little bit of that here, but kind of a bit different. So this one, we have this loop, this like industrial percussion. Like some classic industrial drums, same thing, high pass, low pass. And then this one, I got the auto pan with the sidechain plus the volume shaper. But this one's on 3/16. So if you listen to it with the metronome, right, you kind of get a really cool groove. And then you put that with the other one. Right, and you see how these different like volume shapers kind of start talking to each other. Then we got this little effects. This one's really subtle. It's just this little sound that pops in like this. Just once a bar to kind of like remind you, you know, that it's a new bar. We got a little bit of auto pan sidechain, and we're actually band passing this to kind of push it in the background a little. As you can hear, it's just that little effect in the background. So then we got these. So these are actually camera sounds. Like I literally just took these like sounds of people like loading up cameras, right? But it gives you some Foley percussion. It gives you something kind of live and very organic. I think that's what these guys do well, is they combine those like 909 super processed program sounds with these more organic kind of Foley sort of things. The second two have no processing on them. I believe, yeah, I warped these a little bit as well. Some of them are just unwarped. But the first one just has a little sidechain and high pass on it. You see, these are pretty loud in the overall mix too. And they just give you like that overall kind of sort of Foley percussion. So then we got our synths. They're sort of like this lead made up of 3 synths. We have this one. This one. And this one. So it's like these 3 sequences that create one thing. There's also a bit of group processing, which I'm going to turn off, and then I'll show you the individual layers. Starting with the first one. So I have this SQ sequencer. This is in Ableton. You can download this if you actually bought Ableton. Inside of your packs here, you can find those. Basically what you're going to do is, like, with this, I like to just honestly randomize things. This little dice here will randomize it. So I'll show you what I do. Like, I'll duplicate this, and I'll often just like hit the dice on maybe like the pitch, length, velocity. I don't really like to mess with the octave too much because you can get it can get messy. But now you see we have a whole new sequence. So all these synth sequences are made that way. It's this SQ sequencer and then kind of randomizing different settings on here and then essentially having a synth patch with that works really well with it too. So we got this. Right, so it's just this kind of tense techno FM sound and it takes that sequence very well. And see, this just does a little bit, and then you get the other two kind of doing a lot more, right? So as far as this synth patch, we're playing here with FM, where you got the first oscillator, like the main one, very high, and then the other one's lower, so you get this cool kind of like... Right, if I bring this back down, you really lose that sort of like alien sine wave thing. So we got that, plus it's detuned a bit. A little reverb, drum bus, high pass, sidechain. The next one, same deal, the SQ sequencer. See, this is just doing that. Again, just randomizing the sequence. This one's a simpler FM, but the detune, you can see it's so heavy that like, that's a lot of that kind of tenseness that you feel, right? Then it's going into a bit of delay. High pass, sidechain. So again, like all of these are based on the same patch. That's really how you do this. Is maybe you make like this first sequence, and then you duplicate it and create the other ones out of that. They're all just variations on that. You can see this one just plays right there. I've done like this kind of like custom oscillator shape, a little bit of delay, which is not even playing, high pass, and sidechain. So then I've got all those in a group. They're being put through this amp. So that helps to kind of make it sound like one thing, right? High pass and then sidechain. Then we got this little operator effects down here. This is just this little metallic sound that hits. What I got here is it's this operator patch. So there's the FM. You can see it kind of like fades into the sound. And this one's super high, so you're just getting this like kind of messed up sound, and then a bit of corpus. Right, you can see I've got the LFO on here on the square wave, so that's what's giving it that like metallic movement there, and it really builds the sound up a bit too. It makes it more full with the string membrane thing, and then just the sidechain. So then we got these percussions here. So this is another one just like that other group I showed you where you have a bunch of live stuff. And then they're all getting volume shaped together, and that kind of creates the sound. So it's like this. I got these hard groove kind of loops plus the shaker. And then, yeah, they're all grouped together. 16th note, auto pan, volume shape. So it kind of becomes one loop like that, and then auto pan sidechain. And the last thing we got here are these little effects. So these are tiny and they're subtle and they're in the background, but as you can hear, they're happening pretty frequently. And it goes back to what I was saying before with the Foley sounds. It's like with this kind of techno, it is pretty basic. You need something like this that's just going to keep going and kind of like adding some freshness. You know, if I turn that off and I start to turn the Foley effects off and like the little stabs and stuff, it really becomes quite boring. Because it's just that same thing over and over. It's not just about making the same loop over and over. It's about the fact that it is the same loop over and over, but it's contrasted by these little sounds that pop in and out. So these are all just a bunch of different sounds from my definitive track effects pack. I'll put that at the top of the description on this video. It's just some effects, chopped, put on beat. And you can hear it, it just fills out the mix really nicely and gives us something fresh every few seconds. So that's me for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full template at the top of the description on my website. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.